Hello, and welcome back to the channel, the intersection of philosophy and daily life. Have you ever experienced the burn of harsh words from others or felt overwhelmed by an impolite remark? Disrespect can truly test our resolve and catch us off guard. However, what if you could turn that cold splash into a revitalizing wake-up call? That's where Stoicism comes in. It's not just an antiquated philosophy. It's a method of using your inner strength and a toolkit for transforming adversity into a ladder for personal growth. Before we get into the meat of it, if you're on board with becoming the person who stands out and everyone looks up to, not just for what they say, but also for the inspirational way they live their life, then you're in the right place. Stoics are like alchemists, turning lean insults into golden wisdom, and that's exactly what we're going to dive into today. If you haven't already, please take a moment to hit the like button and subscribe to our channel. It may only seem like a click to you, but for us, it means the world, since it supports the channel and ensures that you receive all of our most recent advice and tips for leading a Stoic life. When you're ready to get going, let's explore these tried and true tactics and change how you and the world view you. Let's take a closer look. This collective disrespect is like a bitter pill that we sometimes have to swallow, isn't it? It can cause us to experience a wide range of emotions, including anger, confusion, and sometimes even mild hurt. It's normal to feel rattled when someone treats us poorly because, after all, we're only human. But consider this: what if disrespect was perceived as noise? Only ambient sounds. Stoicism teaches us that our true power lies not in silencing the noise, but in becoming indifferent to it. It's not about building walls, but about letting the noise pass through us without leaving a mark. When someone disrespects us, they're often just projecting their own inner turmoil, their own storms. It's not really about us. The Stoics, like a sage in the eye of the hurricane, remain calm. They knew something profound, that the only thing we truly control is not what happens to us, but how we respond. So when the winds of disrespect howl, remember you have the power to remain untouched. You are the calm at the center, the master of your own peace. In the next few minutes, we're going to walk through not just surviving disrespect, but thriving in spite of it. So take a deep breath, let it out, and let's step into this journey with the quiet confidence of a Stoic. You know, friends, there's something quite empowering about a serene mind in the face of provocation. It's like having an invisible shield, a Stoic shield, if you will. So how do we forge this shield? It all starts with emotional detachment, a core principle of Stoicism. Now, although the word detachment sounds a little harsh, it really refers to the ability to control your emotions rather than allowing them to control you. To put it another way, imagine yourself in the middle of a busy street where people are rushing by. There is noise and there is chaos. You are simply walking by, observing the rush and hearing the noise, but you are not carried away. You are in the world, but not of it. That is detachment. Let me tell you a little story. Once, I was the target of some very hurtful remarks, and boy, did that hurt. However, I thought of Marcus Aurelius, who once said, "You have power over your mind. Not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." So, I took a deep breath and imagined my Stoic shield. The thing is, when we keep our composure, we control the narrative and dictate the pace. This, my friends, is where our true strength lies. It's not about what comes at you, it's about how you choose to meet it. So the next time you're under fire, remember the Stoic shield. I chose to respond rather than react. I addressed the issue rather than the insult. The outcome was much more constructive. Accept distance, keep your cool, and see how your obstacles start to seem less intimidating. The proverb, When you point one finger, three fingers point back at you is a common saying among seekers of wisdom. However, it goes beyond being a quirky saying. It is a call to self-examination, which is an essential step in the Stoic journey. Let's explore this together. Imagine your life as a series of mirrors, each reflecting back not just your image, but also your thoughts, decisions, and core values. Now take some time to really examine these mirrors. What do you think? Do your actions show that you are a person who lives by your principles? Let's try something. Close your eyes, go on, and think back to a recent instance of conflict or tension. Was it then reflected in your actions, or did they perhaps reflect something else that you might not be as proud of? For example, it's in these quiet moments of reflection that growth sprouts. The power of the reflective mirrors is that when we align our actions with our values, we become architects of a life that is not only admirable to others, but fulfilling to ourselves. I once found myself in a heated debate. Instead of lash out, I paused and asked myself, does this align with my values of respect and understanding? That moment of reflection turned a potential battleground into a garden of mutual respect. Remember that the Stoics placed a strong emphasis on virtue. Virtue is the factual basis of a life well lived, not merely a moral high ground. Therefore, my friends, keep those mirrors clear and spotless, because that is how we create a life that truly represents who we are and who we aim to be. Admirers of inner strength and peacemakers. Let's discuss a superpower that we all have, but frequently ignore the power of the moments. You know how in movies, the hero occasionally moves in slow motion while everything else moves quickly? That's you. Every time you decide to take a moment to think before you act, it's like pressing the slow motion button on life to give yourself the space to process and decide to act wisely rather than impulsively. Try it with me. Now, take a deep breath, hold it, and release it. This little pausing can be the difference between a peaceful resolution and an escalation. It's a safe haven where wisdom can step in and take control. Here's a helpful tip. The next time you're about to react, especially if it's out of anger, picture a big red pause button in front of you, press it, and take a moment to ask yourself if what you're about to say will bring more chaos or peace. And here's a little secret. During that moment, you'll discover insights that were previously invisible. Remember, friends, knowledge likes to hide in the quiet places between our words when it's hot outside. Hi there, seekers of serenity and admirers of virtue. Today, we're going to dive into a lesson that's close to my heart: the disarming power of humor and smiles. Pausing isn't just about silence. It's an active engagement with your inner sage. It's choosing to listen before you speak. Imagine this. Someone shows you some disrespect, and instead of becoming upset and responding angrily, you answer with a smile or a light-hearted joke. That's the power of humor. Regaining control. Think of comedy as your shield and your grin as your sword. They defend you by changing the energy of the moment rather than attacking, but use both instruments carefully. It's like a sudden breeze on a stuffy day. When you laugh at someone, remember that humor is about finding the lightness even in the worst of circumstances. Before you crack a joke, take a moment to think about whether it will make things easier or harder. Here, empathy is your best ally. Remember that comedy is your friend, not your enemy. Friends, as you traverse life's ups and downs, remember to bring your humor and smile. A real smile has more power than you may imagine. It's a universal language of kindness that can turn barriers into windows, letting understanding flow through. Use them to cover up disdain with the hues of happiness and companionship. Welcome back to our Stoic trip. Let's get started on a vital note. Choose logical answers over gut feelings. It's about choosing virtue over vengeance. Let me give you an example from real life. Imagine that someone has wronged you, and your first instinct is to strike back. But what if you choose reason instead? What if you respond with the coolness of wisdom instead of the heat of anger? It's like being in a boat on a stormy sea. You can't calm the storm, but you can steer the boat. When I was unjustly criticized at work, it hurt, and I wanted to lash out, but then I thought of a quote by the Stoic philosopher Sergio. The best form of retaliation is to act differently from the person who committed the injustice. So I took a deep breath and decided to respond calmly and rationally. You know what? It made all the difference in the world. It's not about stifling your emotions. It's about refusing to let them rule you. And it's about acting according to your values rather than just your feelings. And keep in mind that each time you choose reason over reaction, you're building your stoic muscles and becoming that person who is respected for their composure, wisdom, and unwavering peace. It's easy, yet effective to live your stoicism when you stop in the heat of the moment and consider what a wise person would do. We're not only discussing philosophy here, we're also talking about practical skills that will improve you as a person in addition to your stoicism. Let us discuss a topic that has the potential to change people's lives: acceptance. Now, when Stoics talk about acceptance, they don't mean to give up or be passive. Rather, they mean to embrace life as it is, not as we would like it to be. To understand this, think of gardening as an example. We can plant and water seeds, but we can't control the weather or how quickly they grow. This is acceptance on our part and letting go of the need to control everything else. This is an important aspect of Stoicism. We learn to accept the things we can't control and concentrate on the things we can control, our actions and attitudes. Let me give you an example. It has to do with changing our focus from control to personal development. When something didn't work out the way I had hoped, even though I tried my hardest, I got frustrated. Then I recalling the Stoic philosopher Epicurus, who once remarked that it's not what happens to you that matters, but how you react to it. I accepted the situation and instead concentrated on the freeing shift in perspective that came with it. The Stoic approach, my friends, is to take a deep breath, embrace the situation, and ask yourself what you can learn from it and how it can help you grow. Acceptance doesn't mean giving up. It means you start adapting. It's about finding peace in the process rather than just the outcome. It's about growing no matter what life throws at you. Recall that there is always room for improvement, regardless of the circumstances. The soil of acceptance is where wisdom and tranquility grow. Let's explore an essential facet of Stoicism that, to be honest, is essential to improving human relationships. Empathy is the ability to really grasp another person's perspective, especially when there is conflict. For example, let's say you're having a passionate disagreement. It's simple to become engrossed in your own viewpoint, but empathy is like putting yourself in the other person's shoes, regardless of how large or tiny they are. It's not only about comprehending what they're saying, it's also about their feelings and perspective. While empathy doesn't always imply agreement, it does indicate a willingness to listen intently. For example, if a buddy is angry about something you deem insignificant rather than dismissing it, try to understand why it matters so much to them. This is an example of empathy in action with a Stoic twist. Marcus Aurelius once stated, "As you are about to criticize someone, ask yourself this question. My fault that most closely resembles the one I'm about to criticize is empathy mixed with self-reflection." It's powerful, and I know that sometimes it can be difficult, but the thing about practicing empathy is that it can turn conflicts into opportunities for growth, for both you and the other person. It's about building bridges, not walls. So the next time you find yourself in a difficult situation with someone, take a deep breath, choose empathy, and listen. Not just to respond, but to understand. You'll be amazed at how it changes the dynamics. Empathy is not just about feeling for someone, it's about feeling with them. That, my friends, is a step toward WS becoming a more understanding, stoic, and more connected world. Establishing limits in a stoic manner. First, let's be clear about one thing. Setting boundaries helps you respect yourself and teach others to respect you too. It's not about erecting walls around you. Rather, it's more like drawing a line in the sand and saying, this is okay, and this, well, this isn't. Think of it like tending to a garden. Here's how to set boundaries without coming across as aggressive. It's like saying, I value your opinion, but I need to do this my way. It's firm, but kind. It's clear, but respectful. Allow me to give you an example. When a friend of mine used to often contact me late at night, I told her how much I enjoyed our conversations, but that I preferred to talk during the day. To my surprise, they understood, and we started to act with mutual respect instead of drama. Setting boundaries is a skill that requires practice, just like any other skill. To start, clearly communicate your needs, and remember that it's not just about saying no to other people. It's also about saying yes to yourself, your growth, your space, and your peace of mind. So, friends, take a stand, draw boundaries without using aggression, but rather with the calm assertiveness of a Stoic, and watch how it changes your life and relationships. Let's continue constructing boundaries together so that they serve as bridges to a life of dignity and respect. And just like that, we've traveled through 8 profound Stoic teachings together. Let's quickly review the lessons we learnt about keeping our cool. Recall your Stoicism. Shield is your serenity amid the mayhem. 2 self-examinations. Examine your behavior in the mirror and make sure it reflects your values. 3. The importance of pausing before reacting. Press the pause button and allow wisdom to shine through in 4 smiles and comedy. Grinning, disarm contempt, employ humor, but do so sensibly. 5. Logical answers. Prioritize reason over emotion. Let your moral qualities lead the way. 6. Embracing acceptance. Give up trying to change things and concentrate on improving yourself. 7. Empathy leads to understanding. Put yourself in other people's shoes. Connection is key. 8. Establishing limits. As we come to the end of this chapter, I want to encourage you to take these teachings to heart. Think about them, practice them, and grow with them. Draw your lines with love and respect. Every day presents an opportunity to embody these Stoic ideas and develop into a person that everyone admires. Keep in mind that you are not traveling alone. Rather, you are a part of a community that places a high value on wisdom, strength, and personal development. Let's continue the discussion in the comments section below. Please share your ideas, your obstacles, your successes. We're here to learn from one another, so please click the like button if you enjoyed our adventure today. Join us for more content by subscribing and share this video to help spread the wisdom. Every click and share contributes to the growth of this community of contemporary Stoics. I appreciate you coming here and taking this step to become a better version of yourself. Until the next time, keep developing your inner strength. Continue pursuing wisdom, and let's all develop together.